So how on earth do you thrive in chaos in the face of the insanity that we've been dealing with here? Last year, this time, a little earlier than this, I started giving away resources to help to help anybody who would take them, to help people with the debilitating stress that was apparently rolling over us like a freight train. And I started with giving away different hypnotic experiences. You can still find those on my blog and in the Facebook group I opened. And essentially, I knew that it was incredibly important that you keep your stress levels low so that you could actually get through this whole mess. And what I found was that people were either, sinking, and that was a lot of people who I would consider to be on fire, entrepreneurs, people who are always doing fantastic, found themselves in total like frozen mode, fear, anxiety taking over. Yeah. So people were either sinking. If they had support, they may have held steady, and then some managed to thrive. Now, how is it that people living through the same experiences will come out with such an incredibly different outcome? Well, it has everything to do with what's going on right here. See, if you are running around with anxiety and worry, and you're essentially living by the parasympathetic or the sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight or freeze, you're literally unable to thrive. And what's really important, and I just did a live video in my Facebook group about this, is that you recognize that this level of stress is not just making a difference in the way that you operate, like literally unable to take those steps forward to, find yourself in a better place. It can have really damaging consequences at another level that you can't even necessarily see yet. That's why it's incredibly important that you do learn to keep your stress levels down. But it's sticking with this thriving concept, right? So as you allow yourself to, instead of being in that fear, fight, flight, fear, anxiety, worry mode, as you allow yourself the space and time to bring your nervous system down to a place where you can access your own resources, I'm here to tell you that your creative mind, the one that solves problems, it's a solution-oriented thinking, can come back on board. And that is exactly how we thrive in the face of chaos. And then let me put it another way. If you are running from the lion in your head all day, every day, you're feeling anxiety and worry all the time, then when the lion actually shows up, you're going to be freaking exhausted and unable to run. Okay. On the other hand, if you are in a calm resource state most of the time with the tools that I give, then you're in a space of strength, of resourcefulness, right? There's a sense of resilience. And when the lion comes, guess what? You can freaking respond appropriately. Another way, if you consider that what is happening is unprecedented amount of stress and it hasn't really let up. It might feel like things are going back to normal, but I'll bet that you feel differently than you did before. And it perhaps could be because in ways that you can't see, because you can see what's going on in your external world. You can see the results of your not taking action, right? Of being in fight or flight, freeze mode and foot on the brake, not taking action. You can see the results of that. But what about what you can't see? What about the effects of stress that are far more far-reaching? Like I just talked about your brain. Under stress from that's your internal programming, the thoughts that go through your head, the worry, the anxiety, the what ifs that haven't even happened yet. Combine that with external stress, which is literally what's going on outside. That's in all the different terrible ways it is or has. When you're under extreme stress or under stress for a long period of time, your brain literally changes shape. Your energy is put more towards that anxiety and worry centers, and your critical human prefrontal cortex, the one that solves problems, solution-oriented thinking, it shrinks. And so I'm just going to say this, if you feel like you've lost your mind, actually you kind of have. But the good news is you can get it back. I promise you. I can say that because that's what happened to me. Now, what happened to me is before all of this insanity in the world, right? What I give, what I offer, what I teach, what I contribute to this world is the understanding that I have around changing the level of thought and accessing those resource states in a way that is really the most effective way available to us. And when you do that, thankfully, your mind can come back on board. But not just come back on board, but be that genius, creative mind that can help you to thrive. So if you'd like to watch Thrive in Chaos, it's very simple. You can click on the banners here, you can get in the group, you can watch the entire explanation of how you could thrive in chaos. But just one more thing before I go from here. So I want you to understand why this is urgent. And you may be thinking, I haven't lost my mind. Cool. I'm really glad you haven't lost your mind. I had a stress disorder. I lost my mind. I've got it back. Okay. Not only did that happen, but I want you to understand that stress, whether it's internal, and that might be the inner critic, it's the feelings of angst, worry, anger, resentment, guilt, shame, should be further along than I am, all that stuff that's running inside. Stress and the neurochemistry of stress in the body actually causes your body to utilize your genetic code differently. Meaning that in a body that is bathed in the hormones, the neurochemistry of stress, cortisol, epinephrine, adrenaline, those kinds of things, right? In that stressed state, your epigenome actually reads your DNA. And 99.9% of our DNA is perfect, by the way. These are not genetic disorders that this dis-ease is, right? It's literally your genetic code is being read differently in stress. And if you've heard the term epigenome, then you know that that's what is actually reading your DNA. And the epigenome is going to read the DNA and produce the proteins to create your body, your health, your well-being based on your neurochemistry. So stick with me for a moment. And what science has shown us is that epigenetics actually is, they say that, this epigenetic, it is actually passed generationally. So you're literally carrying the stress of your ancestors in your DNA, not in your DNA, in the epigenome. And if you can imagine that the stress, the humankind hasn't lived the most, stress-free life. I mean, if you've got in your ancestry, you've got war, genocide, abuse, trauma, right? That is actually passed down generationally. And so people think that some of these diseases are, they run in the family. The disease doesn't run in the family. The epigenome, the passing down of those belief systems, that stress literally in the body, that is passed down generation to generation. And so not only are you carrying that in your epigenome, then you've got what's going on right now, piling on another layer of stress. And I don't mean to be, an alarmist, but I will tell you that we're already seeing an increase in autoimmune conditions. And this is no question that this is first of all, autoimmune is a first world condition. It's a first world problem. It is from the level of stress that we're under. And so if you're experiencing some symptoms that you might not even think of as a stress disorder, right? Maybe you've got insomnia, you've got unnatural levels of worry, you feel like you're snippy with people in ways that you haven't been before. Maybe you've lost your libido, your drive, you're procrastinating like crazy. You just know you're not yourself. I want you to consider that this is because of the stress that you've been under. And as such, there is a wonderfully, powerfully effective way to change that right now. And when you do that, you're not just, as I work with my clients to be programmed for prosperity, right? We're not just freeing the mind from the programs about yourself and the way that you believe about yourself and money, and so that helps you make more money. My friend, we are changing the programs so that the thoughts that you have produce the neurochemistry of health, of well-being, the neurochemistry that literally it neutralizes the chemistry of stress so that you become an epigenetic reprogrammer, so that your DNA is then read in a healthy neurochemistry, producing health and longevity. So, clients come to me because they want to make more money. Cool. That's fine. We can do that. Apparently, it works a darn charm that my clients who we've been working through this craziness, they make more money with less work. This isn't a question. We do that. But also, we are bathing every cell of your body in the most healing balm possible. Happiness, joy, enthusiasm, hope for a future, thought processes that are far different from what you've been living in. So if you'd like to thrive in chaos, if that sounds like something that's of life-saving importance to you, because it is, then ask me for the link and I'll make sure that you can watch that replay of Thrive in Chaos. I'm Melanie McCool. I'm the Entrepreneur's Clinical Hypnotherapist, and I thrive in helping you to thrive. So I look forward to helping you to realize your dreams. With that, I'll say bye.